Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're going to cover a few different things. Today we're going to cover the building blocks of the mind and who you are, right? So we've got building blocks of the mind, and who you are. Two very important things in life. Okay, the first one kind of explains how two people can, come into contact with the same information and get different results. And the second one being like, who actually are you, and what is this person who you think you are? Okay, so first thing first, who you are. Many people in life, if you ask them a simple question like, who are you, will get offended when you ask them this question. They will tell you different things. They will give you different answers to this. They will say, I am, and they give you their name. They will give you their race. They will give you their gender. They'll tell you, where they work, where they went to school, what they studied, and so on and so forth. So many different things about them, but that is not who they actually are. So who you are, this is a problem because not many people can answer this question. This self, who you identify with, can you take it out? Can you show me who you are? Can you show it to me? Can you explain it to me? And most likely the answer is no. Most of the time when we, think about something, we think about things about us. For example, things that were given to you when you were born. Let's say you were given a name, okay? You were given a religion. Okay, you were given, what else? You were given a gender. Okay, you were given an ethnic group. You were given a culture. Okay, you were given, let's say, like a story, like a family story, right? And this list goes on and on and on and on and on. So these are all things about you. If you get a dog, okay, and you give your dog a name, you don't refer to your dog. Let's call your dog Rocky in this example, right? You don't say it's my Rocky, right? You'll say my dog, and my dog's name is Rocky. Rocky, come here, boy. Who's Rocky? Oh no, Rocky's my dog, right? So we will assign a name to the dog, the name being Rocky, but that doesn't change who Rocky actually is, right? Rocky is still a dog. So who are you? You were given a name, right? You were given a label by your parents, okay? And, whatever your name is, Fred, Sarah, Paul, Courtney, Rebecca, Natasha, Brandon, and the list goes on and on and on, right? So you were given a name, a first name, and a last name. That is not who you are, right? That's just a label. That's a thing about you. And as we go through life, right, we start off as a young child, and we go through life and we start creating a bit of a story, right? So we fed information. Information is put into a system, and that, software becomes a part of who we are. And we start to identify with the software. We start to identify with the software. And when we do this, okay, we start to build an identity. Sorry, there's a bird in the background. So we start to identify with a story or with a particular thing, right? And the problem with an identity is okay, has a story. Okay, and a story is things about us, right? So we will identify as certain things, right? We will get told, for example, when we are young, maybe we go to school and we get told by a teacher, we are bad at math, okay? Or you are bad at, language, or you are bad at, biology or physics or whatever, right? So you get told something one time. Oftentimes when you are young and you're just starting out school and you're learning something as simple as a timetable or how to read, and the teacher will look at you and be like, you're really bad at reading, or you're bad at math. And it's just happened one time, right? We have this little scale in our life. Let me just clear up some of this, right? We have this little scale and we just get told one time. We get told one thing, right? So on the one side we have positive, and on the other side we have negative, right? And we get positive things said to us and negative things said to us. And we've got this scale upon which we kind of like, you know, add, let's say, rocks or add something, right? So we take a piece of information and let's do it in a different color, and we'll add, you know, a bit of information over here, right? And if something positive happens, we'll add some information on the positive side, okay? The more negative things we tell ourselves, the more the scales, okay, tip in that favor, right? So in this example, right, you're bad at math, you know, you get told one piece of information. Maybe it's just one piece, like one rock that you're putting on the negative side. But the problem is you think about this more and more and more and more, right? And just by thinking about it, you're re-experiencing it, right? And you're adding to the story. And now you start finding things that reaffirm that belief. So this is a belief, okay? And you're reaffirming that belief by doing a certain action or by thinking a certain thing. There's no difference between you thinking about something and actually doing it, right? There's this experiment. If I'm not mistaken, it's called the hot rod experiment, or hot poker experiment, right? Like it's a stick that you poke the fire with, right? And on the one end of the stick, when you keep it in there for really long, you know, there's like, it becomes really, 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 really hot. And what they did in this experiment is, you know, they took people who were willing to participate in the experiment, so they'll pay them some money and they blindfolded them, right? And what they did with this hot poker is they brought it closer and closer, closer to the guy's arm. And they said, okay, we're just going to touch you with it. We're going to burn you for an experiment, pretty much. And when they brought it, you know, they brought it about here. And they said, can you feel the heat? The guy said, yes. They brought it close. They said, can you feel the heat? Can you feel that it's close? The guy said, yes. They took it a bit away. They said, okay, can you feel, you know, that's further away? The guy said, yes. And they brought it closer and they said, can you feel it getting closer and closer and closer? And it was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And right about here, the last moment, right? They took it away and they replaced it with a piece of ice, and they touched the guy's skin with ice. And he went, oh, damn, you know, you burned me, fuck. And what happened is it started to blister, okay? But he had been touched with the ice. They did record this. There was a recording on YouTube a few years ago. It's been since taken down. And there is a study about this, right? So I'm sure that if you Google something like hypnotic blister or you know, the hot poker experiment, you should be able to find some information about it, right? There's a lot of mixed opinion and stuff, but the fact of the matter is your mind is super, super powerful, and it cannot distinguish between fact and fiction. So if you take one story like, oh, I'm bad at something, and you keep on replaying it in your head, it's like you're feeling the exact same emotions over and over and over and over again, right? You know, it becomes a part of who you are. Let's draw some fire. It's missing some fire. There we go, it's hot. And that is just the thing, right? So that helps us form our beliefs. And like I said previously, right, your identity, if someone has an identity, they have stories, okay? And these stories can be either good, okay, or bad. But the problem is when someone identifies too much with one story, okay, and they think then they are incapable of change. But the thing is, you are completely, completely capable of change. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is because people will identify as certain things, right? They've got this binary thinking. It's either left or right. They're not able to use opposites. But the brain, the only way that the brain can distinguish between something is through its opposite, right? If I showed you a picture of Donald Trump and I showed you a picture of Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden, you'll have certain emotions. If I show you a picture of a salad and then a picture of a greasy burger, okay, you're going to have certain feelings towards that based on this structure over here, right? Your belief structure, right? Because you've either got a positive experience with salad or bad experience with salad, right? And this is basically your belief. But the only way that you can understand that is through its opposite, right? So it's like the duality of life. You have light and dark. You have positive and negative. You know, of a battery, of magnets, you know, and the list goes on and on. You've got happy and sad, for example, right? So that's like the duality of life, right? So I show you these two pictures and you're able to form a picture in your head. And the only way that you can understand what you like is by knowing what you don't like, right? So that's kind of like a contradiction of life. And that's basically like the first little section about who you are. Now, that question is very, very hard for most people to answer. And the way I like to look at it is that your body and your mind and your soul, okay, are separate things. Your body doesn't have a mind and a soul. Your mind doesn't have a body and a soul, but your soul has a mind and your soul has a body, right? So who are you? You are the person who sits at the seat of consciousness, right? You are the observer, if that makes sense, right? So you're not a label. You are not, for in my instance, Brandon, okay, which is my name. It's a label. It's a thing about me, right? I have a story about me, but that is not who I am. I am the soul that resides within the body and who has a mind. Okay, and the body is basically a physical representation in a three-dimensional world of what's going on, of how you see yourself. So how your soul sees itself, right? So if you are a person who sees themselves as healthy, okay, the spiritual individual, your body will manifest. You will manifest the body of what you feel is the shape of your soul, for example, right? So your soul has a mind and your soul has a body. And your soul is the thing that can expand, right? I think Jim Carrey says it the best. He says your body is not contained, or your soul is not contained within your body. Your body is contained within the limitlessness of your soul. In other words, he's saying like your soul is like this thing over here, right? And your body is contained within your soul, and your soul is limitless, right? So your soul has the capability of expanding outwards and changing its beliefs and changing its, like software programming, if that makes sense. And on that topic, right, let's go through, the building blocks of your mind. So it's always fascinated me, but you can have different people, right? You'll have one individual. Let me draw two nice little unisex stick figures over here. And these people come into contact with information, okay? But in the one guy who comes in contact with the information, okay, he becomes like a billionaire, right? He makes a lot of money and he is a billionaire. But the other guy comes into contact with the same information and his life is pretty much shit. It's awful. And I've always wondered why that is the case. Okay, how can two people come into contact, okay, with the same information and get two different outcomes? And the answer is very, very simple. It's how the mind is structured, right? It's not that the information is different. They came into contact with the same information, right? The thing that is really different is this thing over here, right? The mind. The mind of the individual is, I don't know if I can draw like a brain over here. Okay. The mind of the person, okay, is what's different. And oftentimes a successful person's mind is built a lot differently than a person who is not successful, right? So if you were to think of this like Lego pieces or like little Tetris blocks, okay, you would have pieces of the mind, something like this, right? Okay, and you can have like little extra pieces up here that you can fit up, whatever, right? And your mind is it's divided into different parts. Okay, so at the bottom you'll have something called mental awareness. Okay, and then just above that you'll have, excuse me, and above that you'll have mental cognition. Okay, just above that you'll probably have like a layer where you've got business principles. Okay, then you have business disciplines. Okay, and then on top of that you'll have like processes, and then maybe tools over here, right? This side. Okay, now what are these different things? So obviously a person's so first off, right, the blocks above it inherit its understanding from the blocks below. Okay, so for example, when you have this person going out and trying to learn Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok reels and TikTok ads, right? Because they see a bunch of people making money. They are trying to learn, okay, different business processes and different tools. So they want to learn how to create short form content, which is like a process. And then they want to learn how to use TikTok ads and YouTube ads, for example, right? And they think that these two things are going to make them money. So in this situation, you have person one, okay, and you have person two. Okay, so person two comes into contact with, short form video content. So short form video content over here. Okay, he comes in contact with that and he decides that he wants to learn ads. Okay, how to do ads on, let's say TikTok. He's going to use Instagram. Okay, so IG. He wants to use FB, Facebook, and maybe some like YouTube. Okay. He comes into contact with the business process, he starts to learn it, and he thinks that he can implement this stuff and become successful. But then he does all of this stuff with no understanding of any business disciplines, with no business principles, with no mental cognition and mental awareness. And what happens is he kind of fails, right? He doesn't get the same result as person number one, who comes into contact with the same information. So the difference is person number one comes into contact with the same information as person number two, right? But he's got a better mental awareness. Okay, he's able to spot opportunities and position himself in a way to find success and find mentors and so on and so forth. He's got better mental cognition, better problem solving skills, better critical thinking skills. He's got better mental frameworks, and on the business principles side, maybe I can fix that up over there. Okay, and on the business principle side, maybe he understands management, and like he's got a lot more core values and stuff. He's able to sit and apply himself. He understands the difference between procrastinating when you can procrastinate and when you can't procrastinate. And he's got, in business disciplines, he has a better understanding of tax and sales and closing and marketing and graphic design. And now this person over here, he's got a very good mental stack. Okay, so we'll call these things a mental stack. Okay, he has a very good mental stack. Okay, now when he comes into contact with the information, he can see, okay, I can see how short form video content can actually help me, okay, because I've got all these other things, right? So it's like the equivalent of, let's go back, let's backtrack, right? So he understands, he's got this big mental stack, and he can see how everything can interconnect to his business. This guy is T-shaped. He's got a broad understanding of a lot of topics, and then a very deep understanding on, like, let's say one of these things, right? So when he looks at his business, okay, let's say he is marketing, or like, let's say he's selling a good, or is drop shipping a product, he understands that if he makes short form video content, that there will be a return, and he can see how to link it back to everything else, because he's able to clearly think through these different levels. Okay, because the levels at the top, okay, these levels over here, tools, processes, business disciplines, even business principles, okay, it inherits everything from the levels or the layers at the bottom of it, right? So all the building blocks at the bottom, okay, add to the building blocks on top of it. So the ones on top inherit everything else from the ones below it. And he implements the strategy of short form video content and then adds, okay, same information, but his result is he starts making lots and lots and lots of money. So, ladies and gentlemen, this person number two is essentially trying to build like a really multi-million-dollar house, like a really, really nice house, okay, on like a sandy foundation, right? In the Bible, it says, the man who built his house upon the sand, everything came tumbling down. for example, right? He doesn't have a very, very good foundation. So I would say, everything from this level over here, these things over here, this isn't even getting into business yet. Okay. This is purely just being able to think clearly, process information. Okay. Seek the truth, apply the scientific method to understand what is right and what is wrong. Okay. And be able to think through problems and different things. Like, this mental stack is very, very important. That's why most entrepreneurs, they understand the importance of their mind. When people think mindset, right? When they see all these entrepreneurs coming in and saying, hey, you need a good mindset, you need to be able to focus on X, Y, Z. When they say, what will make me successful in business? And you say, well, you have to fix your mind. They look at you like funny, right? Because they just want to know all the juicy stuff. They think it lies in the processes, the tools, maybe some business disciplines and business principles. But in actual fact, right, it's this little stack here at the bottom, the mental cognition and mental awareness, right? Your mind plays a very, very big role in this, because it's essentially the foundation upon which everything else is built, right? So when you have this millionaire or this really successful, really ultra wealthy person come to you and say, hey, you have to fix your mind, okay, it's generally saying that, hey, like, go back and fix the little building blocks, because the way that you process information is wrong. So I thought that I would come in here and tell you a little bit about this. And the reason I started with identity is because people will like rope themselves in, right? They'll say, okay, shit, I've got poor mental awareness, mental cognition. I know no business principles, right? I've got no core values. I've got no business disciplines. I don't understand anything besides maybe one thing. And I'm really shit at all the processes and tools. And they kind of say, because I'm bad at all of these, I'm better off sticking to a 9 to 5, right? Because they've got an identity and they've identified as a certain person for an extended period of time. That person has become part of who they are. And now they think that they are completely incapable of change. But that is not the case, right? When you go down and you go deep and you start actually addressing all of these like little skeletons, little shadows, and you start going deeper and deeper into your mind, and you start learning how to, apply mental awareness and mental cognition, and you can then start to learn the business principles and business disciplines, right? You can start to apply the law of contradiction, okay, to your life. You'll see that things start getting different, and now you start becoming a full stack person, right? Your mental stack is now full stack, right? And when you come into contact with information in the future, you will be able to process it like a billionaire or like a really ultra successful person, okay? You'll be up here, and you'll no longer be the person who is sad and miserable because they think that everything is fate and it's chance, and there's such a thing called luck. Luck does not exist. Probabilities exist, right? You just need to roll the dice, okay? In life, you're given a dice. You don't know how many sides you have, okay? You can have 10 sides or you can have 200 sides. But every time you roll the dice, okay, let's say on one side you've got green, and on the other side, all the other sides you have red. And every time you roll a green side, one of the red sides turn green. And every time you roll a red side, it just stays red and you get to roll again, right? So a person who starts with 200, red sides and one green side, and he rolls the dice often enough, eventually all of those 200 red sides are going to become green sides. And every time he rolls, it's going to look like the guy is lucky because he's on a roll. But the reality is, you could have a person, okay, this guy could be the guy with like 200-sided dice, and this guy over here could be the guy with like a 20-sided dice. But every time he rolls, he's hitting red, but instead of him rolling again, he's too focused and fixated on the person above him because he's not getting the same results, that he just doesn't roll, right? And he rolls red, like, let's say 15 times, okay? But on the 16th time, he could roll green, and he's got less sided dice than the guy above him. But because he's not rolling, okay, he seems more unlucky, and the guy above him seems like he's more lucky, right? So there's a little bit of an analogy for you to play around with. But I hope this video makes a lot of sense. Remember who you are. You are the person who sits at the seat of consciousness, okay? You are your soul. Your soul has a mind. Your soul has a body. Your body doesn't have a mind and a soul. Okay, so you can disassociate with this thing called the body and disassociate with this thing called the mind, and understand that you are limitless. You are capable of anything that you apply yourself to. As a man thinketh, so is he, right? The key is feeling, okay? The secret is feeling. It's not just being able to think, okay? But that part of the Bible has been changed and altered, okay, by Emperor Constantine. So in like 300 AD or whatever, they changed the Bible. So in the original text, it says, you need to make your mind, okay, your feeling and your speech one, okay? So if you can see it and you can feel it and you can speak it and everything is in unison, then you shall manifest. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? There's a little bit extra to that phrase. But that's all you need to do. Feeling is really the secret over here. Understand that you can take off, okay, some of these rocks. If you've got more negative rocks associated with something and less positive, you can always work at increasing the positive side. Yes, it takes time, but you can definitely change your beliefs. You can definitely change your life, right? You are limitless. You can expand outside of yourself. Remember how to become a full stack person. Start working on your mental awareness and your mental cognition. Learn some business principles. Learn some business disciplines. Remember to be a T-shaped individual, right? Have a wide knowledge of different principles like tax, your purely just your P&Ls, your accounting, your marketing, your graphic design. Understand how everything ties in together in your business, and then have deep understanding on one of those things. For example, management, right? Like understand deeply how to manage people and how to build rapport with people and how to, run your company, and then understand how everything else kind of like relates to one another. So you have to be T-shaped, right? And you have to be full stack. I hope that makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me know down below if this video helped you. If you would like me to make more videos like this one, please let me know. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share this video, and I will see you in another video. Till then, bye-bye.